Hello everyone. Today we are going to continue the chapter Weathering the Storm in Arsama by Harsh Mander. In our previous class, I taught you that Prashant, the main character of the story, had gone to his friend's house, to the block headquarters of Arsama, to spend a day with his friend. On that particular day, a super cyclone struck and the date was 27th October 1999. The storm was so furious that within hours it submerged the whole area with water. Prashant was at his friend's house. The house was also damaged by two coconuts, as two coconut trees had fallen on it, and it had damaged the walls and roof of the house. The next morning, it was continuing, the rain was continuously falling, the wind was there, but the speed of the rain and the wind had reduced to some extent. When the water level was increasing, Prashant and his friends, family members, they took shelter on the roof. They had to stay there for 2 days. The coconut trees which had destroyed Prashant's friend's house were also a blessing. Why they have been termed as blessing? Because the trees were full of soft coconuts. And by consuming those coconuts, they managed to survive for many days. Prashant was concerned, worried about his family members, because early in the morning when he climbed the terrace, the roof, the scene, the sight he witnessed gave him a shock. He could see the whole area was covered with muddy water. Dead bodies of animals and human beings were floating everywhere. Only some pakka houses stood, but even though they were fractured or damaged, but the houses made of mud, huts, there was no trace of them. They all were washed by the angry water. Prashant was concerned about his family member. He wanted to leave Arsama and go to his own house to inquire about his family members, about his house, whether they were alive or not. And when he decided to leave Arsama after 2-3 days, his friends, family members knew that still the whole area was covered with water. Even though the water level had reduced to some extent, the situation was still dangerous. And they tried to stop him, but he was adamant, he was determined to go to his village and seek information about his own people. So let's start the chapter. He equipped himself with a long sturdy stick and then started his 18 kilometers expedition back to the village through the swollen flood water. So he took a stick and he started his 18 kilometers long expedition. It was an expedition. Why? Because he could not walk freely, because the whole area was covered with water. Even the road was not visible. He might step and fall in a ditch. So he had a stick, and his expedition was to be very slow. First he would have to, with the help of the stick, he would have to locate the area, the road, and then he would have to step forward. First he would search with the stick if the area was shallow or deep. So it was going to invest a lot of time in his 18 kilometers long expedition to his village. It was a journey he would never forget, and it was going to be a journey which Prashant was not going to forget throughout his life. He constantly had to use his stick to locate the road. The road was not visible. It was covered up to neck or up to his waist. So he had to locate the road with the help of the stick and then keep on moving forward. So first he had to put the stick forward, locate the road, and then he had to put one step, then again he had to locate the road with the stick, and then he had to step forward. Hope the road might have been washed away by the water. Then what would happen? He would directly fall into the ditch. And it might be dangerous for him. So before putting, after every step, he had to locate the road with the stick. To determine the water, where the water was most shallow. At places it was waist deep and progress was slow. So somewhere it was waist deep, but the progress, that means his journey was very slow. He had to be very careful. At several points he lost the road and had to swim. And at some points, some places, he lost the road. That means the road was washed away by the angry water. He had to swim. After some distance, he was relieved to find two friends of his uncle who were also returning to their village. After some distance, he was relieved because he found two friends of his uncle who were also trapped in some other area, and now they were returning to their own village. So he got two companions in form of his uncle's friend. So now, earlier he was alone, but now when he got two companions, he was filled with energy and determination. And three of them together started moving forward. They decided to move ahead together, and they decided to move ahead together. Whatever danger, whatever situation was going to come next, the three of them were going to face it together. As they waded through the waters, the scene they witnessed grew more and more macabre. So, what do you mean macabre? Horrible. Okay, horrible. That means the scene they witnessed, became macabre. That means it was very horrible. Whatever the scene they witnessed, they saw, it was very horrible. They had to push away many human bodies, men, women, children, to move ahead. So, everywhere, dead bodies of human beings, children, women, animals were floating on the water. To move forward, they had to move the dead bodies with their hands and then had to move forward. It was a very pathetic scene when you have to move in water and you have to push the dead bodies of human beings with your own hand to make your own way. The scene was very horrible. They had to push many human bodies, men, women, children, carcasses of dogs, goats, cattle that current swept against them as they moved ahead. So as they kept on moving ahead, the current of the water pushed the dead bodies of animals, human beings toward them, and they had to push them aside to make their own way forward. In every village they passed, they could barely see a house standing. They passed through many villages, but they could find rarely any house standing. Even any house was standing, it was made of pakka. It was a pakka house, it was made of brick, but even though it was damaged. But the other houses of wood, there was no trace. All the houses had been washed away by the angry water. They could barely see a house standing. Prashant now wept out loud and long. Prashant kept on weeping. He started weeping when he saw the heart-rending scene. When he saw that houses were washed away, when he saw the dead bodies of human beings, he was concerned about his family members. He thought about his family member, about his wife, about his house. If his house might have managed to stand against the horrible storm. If his family members might have survived against the storm. He was sure that his family could not have survived this catastrophe. And he was sure when he saw the damage done by the super cyclone, the damage of life and property, he was sure, confirmed that his family members might have not been able to survive. They would have been died. They would have been dead. And they would have not been able to survive the catastrophe, that means the disaster, super cyclone. Eventually, Prashant reached his village, Kalikuda. The name of Prashant's village is Kalikuda. At last he reached his village, Kalikuda. His heart went cold where their home once stood. There were only remnants of its roof. So he went cold. That means he was struck with terror. He became sad. The place where once his house stood, there was only the remnant, the remaining of the roof. The rest part of the house was washed away. Some of their belongings were caught, mangled and twisted in the branches of trees, just visible above the dark water. A tree had fallen beside his house. Some of his belongings, clothes, some other things, they had been caught, they had been trapped in the branches of the fallen tree. And he could identify those things were his, or it belonged to him and his family. Young Prashant decided to go to the Red Cross shelter to look for his family. So he decided to go to the Red Cross shelter and to look for his family. Now, what is Red Cross? It is a charitable organization, helps the people in disasters, in natural calamities, and also it organizes charity shows. So, some shelters have been set up by the Red Cross Society. He decided to go there and see whether any member of his family might have survived. Among the first people he saw in the crowd was his maternal grandmother. When he went to the Red Cross shelter, the first person whom he saw was his maternal grandmother, Nani, weak with hunger, and he could identify that she was very weak due to hunger. And rushed to him. When his maternal grandmother saw him, she rushed towards him. Her hands outstretched. The Nani, the maternal grandmother, when she rushed towards Prashant, her hands were stretched out to receive Prashant in. Her eyes brimming, that is overflowing with tears. It was a miracle. They had long given him up for dead. So the maternal grandmother, along with other family members, they had thought, or they had given up all hope of his survival. They thought that Prashant might have been dead. But when the maternal grandmother, when she saw Prashant alive, she could not believe her eyes. She outstretched her hand. She wanted to hug him because she thought that he was dead. Quickly, word spread and his extended family gathered around him. Quickly the word spread in the whole shelter, whole camp which was set by the Red Cross Society, that Prashant was alive. And his family members who were in different parts of that shelter, they all gathered at one place to see Prashant. And hugged him tight in relief. When they saw Prashant, they hugged him tight because they all had given hope. They all had thought that he was dead. So after seeing him, they were all excited, happy. They could not express their feelings. So they just hugged him tight to express their love and affection towards him. Prashant anxiously scanned the motley, battered group. Now, Prashant scanned the motley, battered group. What do you mean motley? Desperate, varied in appearance and character, battered, injured, worn out. That means the condition, the situation that they were facing. They had lost their whole house, everything. They were living in shelters set up by the Red Cross Society. So their condition had become very miserable. They were looking very weak due to hunger. Their clothes were torn. They were ill. His brother and sister, his uncle and aunt, they all seemed to be there. And he was scanning, he was looking, he was searching for each and every one. And at last he was relieved that all his family members had survived the super cyclone. They had faced the hardship and managed to survive. All family members were alive and they were there at the relief camp. But the next morning, as he took in the desperate situation in the shelter, so the next morning, when he took in the desperate situation in the shelter, that means desperate, that means that he saw the miserable condition of the people living in the shelter. He decided to get a grip over himself. He decided to take a grip over himself. That means to get ready to face the challenge. The challenge was what? They had to live for many days in the shelter. And life was not going to be easy. So he had to do something. So he wanted to get a grip over him. That means to get ready to fight the challenges that were going to come in that shelter set up by the Red Cross Society. He sensed a deathly grief setting upon the 2,500 strong crowd in the shelter. And he could see, he felt that there were nearly 2,500 people accommodated in that shelter. And all of them were very sad. They didn't have enough food to fill their bellies. They didn't have good shelter. They were injured. They were living in a very unhygienic condition area. So he felt that. And he decided to do something for them. "86 lives were lost in the village. 86 people from his village were killed, or they had lost their life in the super cyclone. All the 96 houses had been washed away. There were 96 houses in his village, and all of them were washed away. There was no trace of them. It was their fourth day in the shelter. So 96 houses were washed away. They could not face the angry water. And now it was the fourth day in the shelter. So far they had survived on green coconut. So for 4-5 days, Prashant, his family members and other people who had taken shelter there, they had managed to survive there by feeding on coconuts. But there were too few to go around such a tumult of people. But there were only few coconuts left to fill the bellies of 2,500 people. It was not going to last long. So something urgent needed to be done. Prashant, all of 19 years, that means at that time Prashant was only 19 years old, decided to step in as leader of his village if no one else did. So he decided, if nobody was going to come forward, nobody was going to help them to fight the situation, he decided to be the leader. He decided to lead the people and improve their condition, to do something for their betterment. He organized a group of youth and elders to jointly pressurize the merchant once again to part with his life. So he organized a group of people, of young and old, and all of them together, they started pressurizing the merchants to part with their rice. That means the store. They had stored the grain, the rice, the dal, the wheat, everything in their house, in the store. So he pressurized them that they should part, because already they had all the grain, the rice, everything was wet with the water. So it was going to be spoiled within some days. So before he should throw it away, he asked the merchant that they should part, they should give it to the people who are living in the shelter, so that they can fill their bellies, so that they could satisfy their hunger. This time the delegation succeeded and returned triumphantly. So this time they kept on insisting, they kept on pressurizing, requesting the merchants, and at last they were successful. And they returned to the shelter happily because they had rice sacks with them. Wading through the receding water with food for the entire shelter. So they had sacks filled with rice, and it was food for the entire shelter. They had the sacks on their head. They were wading through the water. The waters were still up to waist, and they were moving towards the shelter. No one cared that the rice was already rotting. Nobody was bothered. Nobody cared that the rice was already rotten, because nobody had eaten any grain for the last 4 or 5 days. Branches from the fallen trees were gathered to light a reluctant and slow fire. So all the branches were green, they were wet with water. But even though they were not burning, but even though they were burnt, and somehow the rice was cooked. On which to cook the rice. For the first time in 4 days, the survivors at the cyclone shelter were able to fill their belly. For the first time in 4 days, the survivors, the people in the shelter, had rice for the first time. They filled their bellies for the first time in 4 days. Earlier they fed only on coconuts. They survived only on coconuts. His next task was to organize a team of youth volunteers. Now his next task was that he should make a team consisting of youngsters, to clean the shelter of filth, urine, vomit and floating carcass. So he wanted to make the area hygiene, because the particular place where they were accommodated, where the shelter was set up, it was filled with vomit, urine, carcass, dead bodies of human beings and animals. And to tend the wounds and fractures of the many who had been injured. And then, after cleaning the area, his plan was to treat the people who were severely injured in the cyclone. On the 5th day, a military helicopter flew over the shelter and dropped some food parcel. It then did not return. On the 5th day, a military helicopter flew over the shelter. It dropped some food packets. But after that day, the helicopter did not return again. It did not return, neither it dropped any other food packets. The youth task force gathered empty utensils from the shelter. Then they deputed the children to lie in the sand and left by the waters around the shelter with these utensils on their stomachs to communicate the passing helicopter that they were hungry. Now he wanted to communicate to the passing helicopters that they were hungry, they were suffering, they were starving. So he collected empty utensils from the camp. He asked small children to lie down on the sand and place the utensils on their stomach. And he wanted to communicate a message to the passing helicopters that the children, the people in the camp were hungry. And the message was communicated when the flying helicopters saw small children lying on the sand with utensils on their stomach. The message was communicated. That means the people who had taken shelter there were starving, were hungry. The message got through, and after that, the helicopters made regular rounds of the shelter. So message was communicated, and the helicopters started making regular visits, regular rounds with food and drinking items. Airdropping food and other basic needs, medicines, medical facilities were also there, medicines were there, water was there, drinking water, and even food packets were there. So the helicopters made regular visits and by airdropping. Prashant found that a large number of children had been orphaned. Prashant found that many children were orphaned. That means they had lost their parents, mother and father both. He brought them together and put up a polythene sheet shelter for them. So he collected all the orphan children and made a shelter with polythene, and he accommodated all the orphan children together. He collected and he put all the orphan children there in the shelter made by the polythene. Women were mobilized to look after them, and women were assigned the duties, mobilized to look after, to take care of the orphan children. While the men secured food and materials for the shelter. So men were deputed to collect food materials for the shelter. Youth were deputed the work of cleaning the area, and women were assigned the duty of looking after the children who were or as the weeks passed, Prashant was quick to recognize that the women and children were sinking deeper and deeper in their grief. As days kept on passing, Prashant was able to realize that women who had become widow, who had lost their family member, the children who had become orphaned, they were sinking deeper and deeper into grief. He persuaded the women to start working in the Food for Work program started by an NGO. He convinced the women to start working in the Food for Work program started by an NGO. What is an NGO? Non-government organization. And for the children, he organized sports events. So the women who did not have work, they kept on thinking about the losses they faced, the family members they had lost, the children who had lost their parents. They kept on thinking about the love and affection of their parents. They wanted to make them all busy so that they would forget their grief. So he persuaded the women to start working in the Food for Work program started by an NGO, and for the children, he organized sports events. He himself loved to play cricket, and so he organized cricket matches for children. He was also a cricket player. He was a lover of cricket. He started organizing cricket matches for the children. The children got busy in their play, in their game, and forget about their grief, their sadness, the losses they had faced during the super cyclone. Prashant engaged with other volunteers in helping the widows and children to pick up their broken pieces of their life. Prashant helped his level best the women, the children, to pick up the broken pieces of their lives. To pick up to forget their past, to forget their grief, their sadness, the losses they have suffered, and to start a new life. Pick happiness from the simplest things. The initial government plan was to set up institutions for orphans and widows. The government has set up a plan that there should be different organizations for widows and children. The widows should be sent to the widow homes and children to orphanages. However, the step has been successfully resisted. But this step proposal of the government was rejected, opposed by Prashant, as it was felt that in such institutions, children would grow up without love and the widows suffer from stigma and loneliness. Prashant felt that when the children would be sent to orphanages, they would grow up without love and affection. The widows will live alone with the stigma of loneliness. Prashant group believe orphans should be resettled within their own community itself, possibly in new foster families made up of childless widows and children without adult care. So what do you mean by foster families? A family that provides custody or guardianship for children whose parents are dead or unable to take care or look after them. That means Prashant's plan was that it should be the responsibility of the widows that they should take care of the orphan children by themselves, so that they will be able to fill their family, the gap of their family a little bit. If they will have those orphan children, they will have some aim in life. They will take care of the children. The children who have become orphans, they would get the love of mother or father. So the government plan was rejected by Prashant. It is 6 months after the devastation. Now 6 months have passed after the devastation, when on 27th October 1999, the super cyclone came, caused a lot of havoc, destruction in Odisha. So 6 months after the devastation of the super cyclone, this time Prashant's wound spirit has healed simply because he had no time to bother about his wound. Prashant's loss, the sufferings, had healed because he kept on helping the people, affected people of his village. He did not have time to think over his loss, about his pains and sufferings. Because he had no time to bother about his own pain, his handsome youthful face is what the widows and orphan children of his village seek out most in their darkest hours of sleep. So, his face, youthful face, is what the widows who have been resettled in that same village with the orphan children, to the widows and the orphan children, they seek his youthful face in the darkest hours of life. That means the darkest hour of their life. When they faced it, it was only Prashant who was able to take them out from that grief, from that painful suffering. Now, after reading this chapter, we get some lessons from this chapter. I shall mention 2-3 points that we learned, the lessons we learned from this chapter. Whatever condition comes in front of us in our life, we should try to cope it. We should try to master it. We should always be needy and helpful to the persons who are in distress and need. And we should never lose hope and faith in the adverse situations in life, and try to master it. Young should provide a leadership role to solve the problems of the common people. Young should provide leadership role to solve the problems of the common people, like Prashant. He forgot about his own pains and suffering, but he fought for the betterment of the people of his own village.